Hello, and welcome to episode 488 of the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan. I am one of the co-founders here at ETR, and we are entering the worst week of the year. Yes, that's right. It is Thanksgiving week, and yes, a very happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. As you take that whole bird carcass, you remove the guts of that bird carcass via the asshole, you shove more meat and bread up its asshole, and you sit around the table to celebrate the ravaging of the natives. Just remember, I will be massively stressed as I ignore my family and they hate me because I'm working nonstop this week, aka gambling, aka almost makes you feel happy to be alive. Anyway, I know longtime listeners have had enough of my Thanksgiving takes. I'll move on now. The week 11 DFS slate, the one we just came off of, was truly an unbelievable one. I mean, really weird in terms of offenses and quarterbacks failing. I didn't expect all the best quarterbacks to hit or all the best offenses to hit, but it's really rare for all of them to underperform. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, they were all on the main slate, not to mention Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, and none of them topped 26 points. Lamar only had 16, Josh Allen 12, Hurts 25, Fields 23, Dak 20, Cousins 3. And I know we've been talking about this all year, and I know it was hard to believe and at times impossible to believe, but yes, one game of football does create some crazy / unpredictable outcomes. And when that happens, that's when the GPP bros need to be there to strike. Dink won the juke for 15K with a Josh Allen double in a game Josh Allen scored 12 goddamn points, all because he had Tony Pollard. I mean, that's literally the only guy that went off for him. Crazy week. One point I did want to make was on the Kenyan Drake stuff. So Gus Edwards gets ruled out. Kenyan Drake is sitting there at 5,900, home against the Panthers. Certainly a good spot. But the news came out so early, and given the way DK wide receiver pricing was set up, even just saving a little bit of money to Drake at 5,900 was obviously really appealing. So you combine those two things, the early-ish news on the Gus Edwards injury and the context of slate pricing, and I thought Kenyan Drake could get pretty owned. But my God, I didn't think what happened would happen. He ended up 23% in the Millie Maker and 36% on Kenyan Drake in single entry stuff and high stakes. And maybe you should have seen that coming, like with wide receivers all being priced up, people are desperate to save money. Like Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs in the mid 7Ks wasn't owned at all. No one played Saquon Barkley in cash, And so there was a lot of ownership though on guys like Brian Robinson and Kenyan Drake. But anyways, at that ownership, at 36% in single entry stuff on Kenyan Drake, if you run any kind of projected ceiling versus ownership calculation, I mean, at 36%, Kenyan Drake is one of the worst plays on the slate. And I didn't play Kenyan Drake in cash, but I did play him in tournaments. And man, that was a gut punch to see him come in up in the 30% plus range. I just thought maybe it was dumb. I just thought the news was perhaps late enough to keep him closer to 15%, but it probably was dumb given how early and the pricing situation. We actually only had Kenyan Drake for 15 DraftKings points at 5,900 in projections. Not that great at all. Even adjusting for salary in our projections, Drake was still behind Saquon, Mixon, Jacobs, Pierce, David Montgomery, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara. So, yeah, not even that great a play. And so, obviously, when he's massively owned, it's going to be really bad. Speaking of projections, before I go any further, I want to let everyone know that although I do fucking hate Thanksgiving week, I do love a good Black Friday sale. Although the Black Friday sale I'm about to describe actually does come out of my pocket, so I'm not as thrilled as normal. But anyways, here we are. So we hardly ever run sales, like literally almost never. But we have a ridiculous one going right now for Black Friday week. It is just $4.99 to try ETR NFL for 1 week. That is 80% off the normal price. The sale also is $39.99 to try 1 month of ETR NFL. That's normally $75.99. So go to EstablishTheRun.com/Black Friday for details, or find the link pinned on my Twitter. That's EstablishTheRun.com/Black Friday. As for cash this past week, I had my worst week of the season money-wise, and one of my worst weeks of the season win rate wise, like roughly 52% or so. And I'm certainly in no position to complain. I've run really well this year, but it was frustrating because I actually thought I was on it. I IKB'd. I knew better the projections on CeeDee Lamb. I didn't really love him. I even won some Leone bucks betting Devontae Adams over CeeDee Lamb straight up. We IKB'd the Damian Harris stuff. Thought off of a bye he would really impact Ramondre. And although Harris only had 10 touches, he was really good. I didn't play Kenyan Drake. I didn't think he was really a priority other than Price. All I really needed to smash and cash was one of Saquon Barkley home against the Lions, Josh Allen in a dome against the Browns, or Steph Diggs in a dome against the Browns to show up. And none of the three did. And so, again, I was seemingly the only one to play Saquon. Dude gets 20 opportunities against the Lions at home, finishes with 5.5 DraftKings points. He got pulled in garbage time. Matt Breida gets the touchdown, just really tilting all around. But all that said, I was really happy with the way I played, despite the results. Losing sucks, man. It stings. I hate it. Even though I know, like, I'm not going to win every week. I'm going to lose sometimes. Even though I think I played really well, just brushing off losses and just being like, well, guys, it was a flip. Oh, well, I just got unlucky. I get that may be true, but I still think that's a pretty weak way to think. No excuses. No, well, just variance. LOL. I just be better next week. And so, one thing that maybe I didn't think it was right, but maybe in hindsight, leaning into my boy, our hero, Daniel J. Dimes, home against the Lions at 5,700. Like, I don't actually think that was right, but maybe I should have considered it more. By the way, Danny Dimes is now the QB 10 in fantasy points per game, despite total dust balls at pass catcher all year. Just absolutely incredible stuff from him and Brian Daboll this year. Okay, enough is enough. It is Thanksgiving week. I know everyone is short on time and has family up their ass. So let's get to everyone's favorite portion of the program, the listener questions. Producer Luke, hit the theme music. Question 1 from Jared Lorenz. He says, would you rather have an NFL season where you lost in cash every single week, or have to save your mom's life after a snake bite to the chest by sucking the venom from her chest? Let me repeat that. Jared says, would you rather have an NFL season where you lost every single week in cash, or have to save your mom's life after a snake bite to the chest by sucking the venom from her chest? So good question here, Jared. Really good one. If I lost in cash every week, every cent for an entire year, I was trying to think about how much that would be. I don't know. I mean, it depends how much action I get in head to head, but I mean, we're talking about a lot here. I don't know, 300, 400,000. I'm not sure if you're seen or you're aware of what's going on with the economy, Jared. I'm not sure if you're aware, but some of us may have quote unquote invested in crypto hedge funds and dinosaur skulls and cartoons of fucking punks and digital horses that fuck each other in the metaverse and the S&P 500 and VGT and fucking moments last year, okay? I, for one, can't believe all those communities are falling apart now. Shocking, I know. But so the answer, Jared, is no. I can't fucking afford to lose every week in cash for a year. I'll be living under the goddamn boardwalk in Atlantic City. And so, to answer your question, I guess in this case, I'd have to suck the venom of the snake bite out of my mom's chest. And honestly, man, I deserve it. It would be a good lesson for me. It really would. It would be horrible, but it'd be a good lesson for me because I am not a fucking investor. I know a lot about fantasy football and sex jokes on the internet. I'm sure some of you have heard the quote, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's not the right move for me. It's not. The right move for me is to put all my eggs in one basket and watch it really fucking closely. That means ETR. That means playing DFS. That means sex jokes. It does not mean investing in shit that I don't know dick about. So as I'm sucking the venom from my mother's chest, it will be a good lesson. It will stick with me forever, the horror of that. And hopefully dissuade me from making the same mistakes again so I can answer this question better and accept a loss for a year. Question 2 from Chandler. He says, what are your thoughts on the long-term positive/negative impacts on sports with the rise in availability and popularity of sports betting? Yeah, so I think legalized sports betting helps in 2 ways. First, more transparency, less game/match fixing. In the old days, people would bet with street bookies, offshores, all kinds of different ways. So if a game was fixed, it's possible at least that no one would really know. These days, it would be really hard to fix a game now and not get caught. Every book is in bed with the leagues and they're massively incentivized to keep the games honest, find anything shady. So let's say all of a sudden a book gets hit with a ton of massive bets on some small college basketball game. stuff that's easy to spot as way outside the bounds of normal. Books immediately tell the leagues, tell the authorities, tell the NCAA, tell the NBA, whatever. They look into it and it's GG. No street book and no, or most offshores, they're not doing that stuff. Second positive thing I would say is obviously sports betting injects an insane amount of money into sports. DraftKings and FanDuel and Caesars and MGM, I mean, they're spending literal billions of dollars on advertising and sponsorships, which should/will hopefully trickle down to the players, people who work for the teams, etc., which I think is generally good for sports. But maybe I'm naive and the extra money will, just exclusively go to more money for the billionaire owners. I'm hopeful that's not the case. But yeah, negatives on it for actual sports. Obviously, there's negatives to society. I think negatives for actual sports. I think people care less about the laundry. In other words, they care less about their team. To me personally, that's a feature, not a bug. But I get that a lot of boomers don't agree. I think less of blind allegiance to X, no matter what, is a good thing for society. And by X, I mean politics, sports, business leaders, crazy religious stuff, not thinking and just blindly hating anyone who isn't on your side or loving someone who is on your side. I mean, the Raiders people are still in my mentions about the Devontae Adams trade take. It's insane, right? And these people are just like blindly slaves to the laundry. So I think a lot of that stuff is at the root of many of our societal problems. So yeah, I would just think it's better to have people root for their bets. And by the way, I mentioned how bad or it can be bad for people who are betting on sports because let's be honest, 95% or more, if you're betting sides and totals in the NFL or the NBA, 95%, 99% or more are going to lose. But the truth is that sides and totals, if you show up on Sunday morning and want to bet an NFL side or total, the line is almost certainly right. It's efficient. So those bets that people are making, they're just losing the juice. It's not the end of the world. Like Jerry, my dog, she could hit 50% of her bets over an infinite sample if she just licked a random side of each game every week. So yeah, of course, it's bad for society, people losing their money betting. But if people just don't bet the parlays, they don't bet the SGPs, or they don't bet all the nonsense, they just find the best line in the market on Sunday morning, they'll lose like 2% for the year, maybe 5%, which is a lot and it sucks. But hopefully people can afford to lose that. And, it's some kind of entertainment expense. But, I think people underestimate the efficiency of the NFL market on Sunday morning and how much, random fish are actually losing. Now, if you're consistently like, yeah, I don't want to go too much further into that. It's just maybe one day we'll do the experiment with Jerry where she licks a side in every game every week. And people will finally believe that she can hit 50%. Question 3 from Scup Dog. He says, Maryland is finally opening sports betting and the introductory offers are rolling in. What's the most plus EV way to take advantage of that sweet customer acquisition money? Should it be fire lots of small long shot parlays with free bets? Make big ML bets on huge favorites? How do I max this free cash window? Yeah, I've gotten a ton of questions like this with Maryland and Ohio coming online. So first and foremost, no one should ever feel bad about bonus whoring, ever. If you don't bonus whore, you hate money. I mean, we're truly at a unique time. This practice of literally paying people $200, $500, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 just to sign up for a site, it will not last. So shout out to us. If you go to establishandrun.com/offers, you'll see all the sign up bonuses by state. That includes Maryland and Ohio, which have some for, I think tomorrow, actually, Maryland is going live. Now the question becomes what to do with the free bet that you get from a lot of these books. Some of that depends on your goals, right? On your risk tolerance. Obviously, if you want to guarantee getting some money, you'll take a huge money line favorite. So let's say you get $1,000 free bet from Caesars. You say, okay, I'll bet 1,000 to win 200 on some massive favorite money line. You're likely to win. You take your 200, you move on. But is that optimal? Well, no. First of all, because 1,000 to win 200 doesn't always hit. But the optimal is to take a long shot, a big underdog on the money line. There's a lot of math behind it, but it boils down to the fact that in these free bets, you don't keep the actual bet amount. In other words, if you bet $1,000 on a minus 500 favorite, you don't get a return of 1,200 or whatever. You don't keep the 1K. You only get the white meat. I know I'm not explaining this great. I think it's worth watching the YouTube video that Captain Jack did. Captain Jack from our friends at Unabated. I'll try to link to the video in the show notes. And I also tweeted the video last week. He explains the whole thing really well about how to use your free bets. And then you can decide from there how you want to handle it. Question 4 from Lima Bean. He says, where does Thanksgiving rank in your top 5 holidays list? Yeah, around dead last. Like I said at the top, it's just a really stressful week. Essentially 2 main slates to work on. Family is home, family is around. They don't even think what I do is work. So it's insane. For them, it's insane to them that I'm not going to be around on Thanksgiving week. I'll be in my office the whole time. Oh, there goes Adam doing his gambling thing again. But yeah, I'm just not really a holiday guy at all. Maybe because most fall during NFL season, and I definitely get super irritable when I'm thrown off my schedule. And also, it's crazy, but being at the computer, for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week makes me super, super irritable as well, especially by the time Friday and Saturday rolls around. But the thing is, I actually love it. Like, it's a weird thing. I can't not be on top of everything all the time because it drives me crazy if I'm not. But also, at the same time, being at the computer all day makes me miserable too. So I don't know. I guess I'm just at peace with being a miserable fuck. I'm not sure what I can do. It's a real catch-22. But anyways, I'll play along, Lima Bean. I'll play along. I'll give you my top 3 holidays. Try to bring some cheer, some positivity. Number 1, Halloween. Stone cold, absolute best. You bring some beers in the street. You watch the kids have a great time. Everyone's in a great mood. You set up the trick and treat for adults. And by the way, if you don't know what that is, the trick or treat for adults, you sit in front of your stairs of your house or your porch or whatever. You get beers and wine and pizza. You give it out to the adults when they come by with the kids. You can scare people, haunted house. It's all great. Easily my favorite holiday. I dress up as Jerry every year, the most beautiful beast in the world. I love it. It's so good. My second favorite holiday, I would say, is Memorial Day. I'm kind of torn on this one. I have so much respect, almost even like guilt that so many people have fought in wars and died for our country. I obviously haven't. So I feel like Memorial Day should be a somber, kind of respectful day. And I do try to think about it that way, but it's also the official kickoff of summer, easily the best season. And, Memorial Day is always a good time. When I used to live in Philly, Memorial Day at the beach was always a great, great time. I love Memorial Day because it marks being hot. I love being hot. Like, I love being in Vegas in July. It feels so good to be hot. So yeah, Memorial Day, number 2. Third favorite holiday, Valentine's Day. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the world, Valentine's Day. Stupidest thing in the world, but it's a lock to get on the hashtag team, right? So it's got to be in the top 3. Question 5 from George. He says, how much does it physically pain you to hold back the I told you so's when discussing Jonathan Taylor versus Christian McCaffrey's season with the injury prediction bros? Yeah, it's a good question. I really, really, really don't like to victory lap stuff because I get so much wrong all the time. Talked about it last week. And also, I think the victory lap stuff is an insecure look. To have to give people an I told you so every time you're right. I think generally smart people understand sound process versus throwing darts, and results are going to follow. I think people understand that. The ones where it's really tempting to clap back or I told you so or dunk on the stone cold idiots. I mean, I couldn't say a word about Christian McCaffrey or a tweet or an article or anything. I couldn't even say his name without literally hundreds of mouth breathing idiots saying the most vile and hateful things about me because, quote unquote, CMC is going to get hurt, you fucking moron. Right. And I really do try to be careful about not letting the comments into my thoughts whatsoever. I tell everyone, I tell all our guys at ETR, the comments on social media are not representative of the overwhelming majority of people. And they're definitely not representative of ETR people, aka smart people. The comments that are hating on our families for having CMC as the number 1 pick are mouth breathing idiots who will never win their fantasy league or anything else. And so, all that said, yes, I am tempted to dunk on these idiots. We did the Raiders one, which was great. Fuck all those laundry obsessed idiots. The Christian McCaffrey one, I mean, yeah, everyone in the NFL has seemingly been hurt except for him. I think it's obvious at this point that all these people who said that stuff, should be thinking about their lives and what was actually going through their head in the summer. We'll see on going for the victory lap. But again, this Christian McCaffrey one seems so obvious. It's funny. We had some short videos, like the 1-minute clips this summer, and it's me saying, Christian McCaffrey's the no-brainer number 1 pick. Leone saying, take Christian McCaffrey over JT, whatever. And there's hundreds of brain dead comments underneath Shout out to Dave Arago and our video team. He went in and responded to all these idiots. And so now the algorithm on, YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever the fuck, I don't even know. The algorithm on all those places are resurfacing the videos, and random people now are going in and dunking on the mouth breathers. I mean, it's just so good. It really is. Question 6 from Barry. He says, I love the solo pod, but now every time I take a dump and don't shower immediately after, I think of your pod weeks ago saying you always have to. How do I get that out of my head? Yeah, I'm not sure I followed the question here, Barry. Why would you want to get that out of your head? I'm giving you the gold, the best advice you've ever gotten in your entire life. You schedule the times you defecate around when you can shower right afterwards. That's the best advice you'll ever get in your entire life. And you want to get that out of your head? No, Barry. No. You want that in your head. You're welcome. Question 7 from Jack. He says, should sort by projected GPP ownership ever be a part of the player pool selection and process for cash games? Yeah, I've heard this a lot lately, and I'm honestly not sure where it's coming from. When I say it, and when I say, I mean people caring about ownership in cash. And again, by cash, I mean head-to-heads, 50-50s, double-ups. There's like some wave, and I don't really understand where it's coming from, of people caring about ownership in cash, caring what other people are doing in cash. To me, the whole point of cash is to not worry about what anyone else is doing. No game theory. Literally, play the team you think is best. Anything that you're not playing is minus EV, and therefore we're happy to have action against it. Like the idea that Foster Moreau is going to be 80%, so I have to play it. I don't get that. I would play Foster Moreau because I think he's the right play. I don't care what anyone else is doing. If you disagree, then play whatever you think is best. And if you're right, you'll just crush. I've yet to hear a compelling argument or math-based reasoning on why caring what anyone else is doing in cash should matter. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't even cross my mind. If I play a guy who's 80% or a guy who's 5%, it doesn't matter to me. Regardless, I'm playing what I think is right. I'm not trying to game theory bro anyone, period. It's just a much simpler format of DFS when you just literally play the team you think will score the most points this week. Not worry about what anyone else is doing. Question 8 from Andrew. He says, this is going to be the last question we do today, by the way. Question 8 from Andrew. He says, have you found the GTO takeout place in the greater Denver area to satisfy your annual Thanksgiving dinner boycott? Yeah, you know what? Ethnic food is a struggle out here in the Denver suburbs. Definitely some really good Mexican food, which I love, but overall it's a struggle for sure. I have found some really good Vietnamese food out here, which I like, and I think that's what I'm going to go with this year. They have spectacular. This one place has truly spectacular pho. I usually add on a side of the classic Thanksgiving dish, shrimp fried rice. So can't wait, man. It's going to be a great meal. Seriously though, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Appreciate you being part of the ETR family here. Oh, and one more thing. Starting Friday, we're launching a brand new merchandise store. For a very, very short time, ETR subscribers only will be able to get everything that we're selling in the merch store at cost. It's probably going to cost us money, but that's okay. We appreciate you all. We want you to get the merchandise first crack at it at cost. In order to get this, though, you will need to be in our Discord server to get that coupon. So be sure you head to the site, get in our Discord. If you're not if you're an ETR subscriber, you're not in the Discord, go to the team tab, and there's a link there in the menu to show you how to get into the Discord. And then on Friday, we'll be releasing that code in the Discord to get merch at cost. All right. For Jerry, for producer Luke, I am Adam. Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck, everybody.